I want to show you some of the changes I made to the fish room. Little pro tip for you that you're not going to hear anywhere else. I think it's leaking. What is up, everybody, and welcome to today's video. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Zach. This is SC Fish Keeping. I appreciate you stopping by. Please hit that subscribe button down below if you have not already. Now, it's beautiful out, but unfortunately we still can't really go anywhere. We're kind of all still stuck inside, away from each other. And I'm curious if any of you are like struggling with the same problem that I am. But we're not talking about that today. Today we're going to be inside. We are doing something super exciting. We are building a new massive pond, which is just going to open the door for bigger, better things, which in this case means bigger fish. Before we go and we brave this trip, we need to gear up.
Looks like we've come to the end of the road.
All right, we're here. Let's do this.
Tractor Supply, Blade speaking.
Yeah, I had an online like curbside pickup.
I'll be out there in just a few minutes. Okay?
All right, thanks. So it turns out I didn't really need this because Tractor Supply is just gonna bring the pond right to my truck. So boom, just like that, it is in the back of the truck. It was actually really easy to fit in there. It's not quite as heavy as I thought with the two of us that loaded it up. But this thing is 62 inches this way and 69 inches this way, bringing it to a total of 300 gallons, and also just slightly too big to fit in the back of my truck. But I got a slew of bungee cords. I don't really think this thing was gonna go anywhere. It's sitting in there pretty snug as it is, but the last thing I wanted to do was see my pond go rolling down the highway. I can't wait to tell you what we're gonna do because of this. But let's pick this up when we get home. So, got it out of the truck. Now the challenge is gonna be getting it inside, down the stairs, and into the fish room. So, let's do that. And just like that, we have a pond in the fish room. I'm gonna show you exactly what it's gonna take, what we're gonna do to get this whole stock pond set up, so that if you wanna do it at home, you can kinda get an idea of how to do it. But before I do that, I wanna show you some of the changes I made to the fish room in preparation of putting this giant stock pond right in the middle of the room. Quick refresher of the fish room here. So this is the 600 plus gallon pond that houses the largemouth bass as well as the tiger muskie that is back there. In this tank right here, it's 150 gallons with my smallmouth bass named Millie. He's doing great. This tank up here used to house the largemouth that has now been moved into this pond with the muskie. That tank now has my school of peacock bass. The tank down here has nothing in it. This tank down here with all the algae has my grass pickerel, and the tank up there has my bowfin. This used to be like a racking system that only had one tank on it. Well, now it has a couch, and it's gonna overlook this pond and give me an awesome view of the bass. Super excited about that. This tank here has the jelly catfish hiding out next to that log. Then I have the wiper bass as well as my baby walleye. Moving to the other side of the fish room, I added this 55 gallon down here. This houses my big, beautiful male flower horn. This tank used to have the peacock bass in it, now has my little baby kind of grow out flower horns. This tank behind me, I just set this one up today. This is now my new baby piranha tank. Behind me is the Giardini Arowana Smaug, and he also has the giant Oscar in there now named Moose. Wooden pond still houses the giant lungfish. Big kind of tropical community tank there. Another tank over there you can't see yet. Then I still have the electric catfish and the gulper catfish down there, but I can't get too close to them because you'll see the reflection of the tank with the super secret mystery expensive fish that I haven't shown you yet. Now the reason we're all here is this 300 gallon stock tank. Just a refresher, this is a 300 gallon Rubbermaid stock tank. I got it at Tractor Supply. It costs only $249, which is much cheaper than what the pool ponds are going for on the internet right now. So awesome deal on this massive stock tank, gonna give us tons of options. But the first step we need to do before we fill it up is substrate, and I'm gonna use some really cheap play sand. So you'll notice I'm just running the hose into the bucket with all that sand in there, and it's super important to wash it because this stuff gets dirty. It is super dusty, and you don't want any of this like foam stuff getting into your tank. So wash it really good. I just put that hose there, stir it up, let it run for like 10-15 minutes so that water comes off clear. And a little pro tip for you that you're not going to hear anywhere else. If you wait to wash your sand until it's been raining and storming all day and it's currently raining while you're doing this, you're actually going to get a couple benefits. You're going to save water because the rain is going to naturally fall into your bucket, mixing with that hose water, making you use less hose water. And the driveway and street are already going to be wet, so your neighbors aren't going to think you're nuts for just running a hose down your driveway for the next 30 minutes. They will think you're nuts for kneeling down in the street though. So just for the sake of comparison, you'll notice crystal clear, and this is what it looked like before. You want that, not that. So now we just got to take this bucket and get it inside. Oh, it's heavy. We got our first bucket. First bucket in, probably need 2 more. All right, so that is 150 pounds of sand in the stock tank, which covers the bottom. We don't need anything like super thick because we're not doing live plants in here, which brings me to decorations or the hardscape or design, whatever you want to call it. But let's do that. That'll work. So you probably noticed I put a piece of driftwood kind of in that middle. Oh no. I think it's leaking. So yeah, it did leak. These ponds have this little like drain plug down there. It's a bulkhead and it's threaded and it goes through the actual wall of the pond. Those threads didn't have any like thread tape on them, so I did kind of a thick layer of that and we're good to go, which means that we can add the rest of the water. But before I add the water, I need to tell you what fish are going into this pond. And that's because they're fish that a lot of you might know, because they're the fish we just added to this pond here. That's right, we are going to take the ever increasing in size muskie, the little largemouth bass, the bullhead, the bluegill, as well as the little tiny green sunfish, and we're gonna move them to the pond. And that's because I need this pond for something else. I'm not gonna tell you what that is just yet, but let me just say that there's a very large fish that needs a home. And this right here is almost big enough. But I'll tell you about that fish more in another video. For now, we need to finish filling this pond up, and then I'll walk you through like the filtration and heating and stuff like that, and kind of what we're gonna do next with it. So to fill this pond up, I could just use this little python that's connected to my sink, but I've used a lot of water today. So rather than wasting more water, I just figured, let's just grab water from this pool and move it over here. But I don't want to use just like a 5-gallon bucket, so
Say hello to my little friend.
So this right now is hooked up to my 3,000 gallon per hour pump that has been running the filtration system in the pond behind me. And it's just gonna take the water right out of there and move it into here. And 3,000 gallons per hour, 300 gallons needed in this pond. I figure I only got to hold this here for like the next 6 minutes. There we go. So you can see in this pond where the water level was, so we actually took quite a bit of water out of there, probably about 200 gallons, but the fish still have plenty of room. There is the largemouth, there is the muskie, that big bluegill that's like the same size as the largemouth, and the bullhead and the little sunfish. Oh, sunfish is there. But anyway, so these fish are gonna be fine. We're gonna leave them in here just for a couple days. And that's because, just because we took the water out of that pond, so this is essentially the same water that they're in, that doesn't mean that this pond is ready for fish, which brings me to the filtration. So filtration for now, I have these two big sponge filters hooked up to my massive air pump that runs all of these tanks. Now, well, these are technically like rated to be enough. That doesn't mean that they can actually run this pond. But those sponge filters were from like well-established tanks, so they are cycled, they have the bacteria. It'll slowly start to spread. So I just want to give those fish a couple days before we move them over here. Lighting up there, I just swapped out the regular light bulb for like a low wattage kind of floodlight, and as you can tell, it actually lights up this pond really, really well. The native fish don't need super bright lights. I mean, this LED light strip is a little much, but so they're gonna do great in there. But the beauty of this pond is that setting up like a native pond like this, a lot of your fish are gonna do really well at room temperature. So I don't even need to worry about heating, which means there's no plugs, there's no nothing running to this. I just get to have this in the middle of the room, the airline tubing kind of dropping down from the ceiling. I get to kick back, put my feet up, and enjoy. But I suppose I should still finish making this video. So next steps for this pond, like I said, we'll give it a few days. We'll add the fish. I'll make a video kind of showing you putting them in, and we'll get some feeding shots and some more like underwater footage like I showed you from this blue pond. This blue pond, I'm gonna do a deep clean on it after we move the fish out. We're gonna put this really big fish in. I'm excited to see if you guys have any ideas. Some people have actually told me to go get this fish, some local subscribers and stuff, so I'm excited about that. You guys are not gonna believe what it is. But so we're gonna put them in this pond, and then I have some other big like changes going out in the fish room, some new stuff coming in for that, more native stuff, more setups. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited about this pond. Let me know what you think. I like it. I mean, it's gonna be like a native fish grow out. After the largemouth and the muskie like graduate to my 1,200 gallon pond, we'll be able to put things like the walleye or the pickerel in here. It's just gonna be fun. So hopefully you guys are excited about this one. I need to get this filter hooked back up, water back in the pond so these fish are in more than just a few gallons. But before I go, I wanna run my new kind of slogan ending catchphrase by you. So let me know if you like this new kind of sign off. But it's gonna go something like, this is Zach with SC Fish Keeping, reminding you that every fish is a keeper. I like it, I think it's cool. So let me know down below if you like that sign off. But of course every video is still gonna end with the girls.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. See you soon. Mwah. Mwah.